We're going to start with our zone blocking game. I'll talk about how we run block from our zone game and all the techniques that we use in our run game. Before I can even go there, though, you have to understand, how does it all fit in with the overall package of our offense? We have three types of blocks in our offense. Our run plays are either zone blocking plays, gap blocking plays, or man blocking plays. And it really comes down to this. It's this simple. Each one of those types of blocks, have rules that pertain to them. And it's a base rule that pertains to them that drives the play. So you have to understand, all of our zone blocking plays, like we have inside zone and outside zone, your rule in that play, in a zone blocking play, is your play side gap. And if everybody's responsible for your play side gap, then obviously all the zones in the field are protected. All the zones in the field are blocked. And that's how you block those plays. So your base rule in a zone blocking play is you're going to block the area of your play side gap from your nose to the man next to you's nose to the side of the call. So if we're running the ball to the left, I'm blocking from my nose to the man to the left of me's nose. If we're running the ball to the right, I'm blocking from my nose to the man to my right's nose. It's that simple. And then we build all of our double teams around that fact and start from there. Again, if we're in a gap blocking play, your rule is inside gap. So if we're running the ball to the right, I'm blocking inside gap. Same exact theory. Just that I'm blocking inside now. And in a man blocking play, I'm blocking man on. And then, of course, we put targets on all three of those different types of blocks. But no matter what play, if I was to draw up a new play right now and say we're going to call play X, you would have to ask me before we would take any step further in the conversation, what type of blocking is it? And right now I'll be talking about our zone game. It's our wide zone game to start, which is what we do the most of. Again, here's black spot, and I'll go through and show you the different calls that we make from the center, how we communicate the play, how we teach the play. The biggest thing to me is how we communicate to each other. How do we know exactly who's blocking who? All of our calls come from the inside out, and I'll go through all of that with you. But I'll talk about the technique we use, how we communicate the play, our every play run, just how you're aligning, how you're making your calls, your stance, alignment on and off the ball, inside and outside, and then your post-snap, your approach, your contact, and your finish of all these blocks, just how we build all of our double teams and so on. And again, you can see from this, we'll put in just our base look from our receivers. We'll push crack on the play side. And away from all of our wide zone plays on the back side, we will run a bubble or a slide. The target of the running back is the outside the outside leg of the play side tackle. Quarterback wants to drive the ball to the back as deep as possible. We are trying to get this ball on the edge. Here's a look at the play. Black spot again. Okay, from last season, there's the push crack by the play side X and the bubble on the back side. The running back is driving this ball to the C gap. We are in a dead sprint off the football. We are in a dead sprint off of the football. You're giving your targets. You know your area that you're supposed to block before the snap. And then once that football is snapped, you know who you're working with. You are sprinting off the ball, attacking a target, and moving that target. One of the biggest keys for us in zone blocking is keeping everybody on the line of scrimmage. There can be no penetration on these plays. None. Every target that you hit is the play side half. So when you end up on any defender that you end up on, when you finally end up on him, you're going to end up, whether it's a linebacker or a defensive lineman, you will end up on the outside half. And I'll go through your aiming points and everything as we go. All right, let's talk about your base rules. Okay, here's just the base scheme rules, okay? On the play side of all of our outside zone, we want a wall, which means we want to get the ball on the edge. You want to create walls. You want to build walls and let the ball get outside of you. You want to reach the defender in front of you. On the backside, we want to cut everything down. So whoever's working on the backside, which is always the backside guard and backside tackle, and occasionally it'll be the center, you are working. If you're on the backside, you are trying to cut that defender. Again, you only cut when you know you can get the defender on the ground. If you can't get him down, if he's not running that hard with you, or if he's playing off your body, then you can't cut him. Every time we do cut, we want to take one more step than we think we need to before we cut. Wide zone are scoop blocks. Again, they're reach blocks. So in wide zone, if you're just in a base single reach block, your target is the outside half of the play side number. If you're in a double team, if you're the play side man on the double team or the covered man, you're targeting the outside half of the play side number. If you're the uncovered man, you're targeting the midline of the defender, of the down defender. Again, in all of our double teams, we're always targeting a down defensive lineman before one of us gets off on the backer. The point of attack, okay, and this fluctuates right now, okay, but for your general understanding as an offensive lineman, it'll be the outside leg of the play side tackle or 1 yard outside the play side tackle. Either way, that ball's going to get on the edge. Here's some phrases that you're going to hear. You're always working with someone in a zone blocking scheme. Occasionally, you'll hear the center call out solo in tight zone. Okay, occasionally we'll call RL with the play side guard and the play side tackle is all alone on the defensive end. But in general, in zone blocking plays, you're always working with somebody. The other big thing is keep them on the board. You have to keep the defensive line on the board. There can be no penetration on this play, which means in your alignment you want to pull yourself off the football originally so that you can get downhill on the defensive lineman. You want to get downhill and attack him on the line of scrimmage and keep him on there. We're in a dead sprint off the football. So we've set it up where you have a target on every single play. You're attacking that target. You're sprinting off the football. You're in a dead run from the get-go once that ball's snapped. You're displacing the defense. You're creating seams. Yeah, we tell the running back, the H-back, where we want him to run the football, okay, his initial target. Once he feels a seam, he's going to get up in that seam, which means that's why you can't turn your hips to the sideline. You can't open your hips at all as an offensive lineman. You have to stay square with the field. You always keep your nose pointed toward the end zone. When a running back has the football, he should see your numbers. He should never see your hip. If he can see your hip, that means he can see a defender right in his face, which means he's going to be forced to make a quick cut. So we want to stay as square as possible and keep everybody on the board and displace the defense, create seams. Backside cuts, take one more step than you think you need to. Think about what I just said. As soon as you feel like I can cut this guy, take one more step and then cut him. And that comes from practice. You have to practice that every day when we go out and make those cuts. You have to be saying that inside your head. Take one more step, then I think, take one more step, take one more step. And that's how you have to get to that. The center guideline, okay, versus 4 down, I want to work with the play side people I'm going to work, if I'm working play side in 4 down, I'm going to work with the play side guard. Versus 3 down, I'm working with the backside guard, okay, to the backside linebacker. And versus 5 down, I'm going to be calling Big Apple. On average, that's how it works out. Center guidelines, who am I working to? Box declared plays, okay? Play side double team is working to the first linebacker in the box in a box declared play. Remember, box declared plays are one-back plays. There is no fullback. So we, as the offensive line, have to block the first linebacker in the box. The play side double will go to him. On a Mike declared play, those are plays that have a fullback in them. So the fullback will be blocking the will, and the offensive line will be responsible for the Mike. So the fullback either has the will or, as it's written here, the Sam, either one, and the play side double team will go to the Mike. All right, so let's just start out with your base calls. Okay, well, our base calls, all of our calls come from the inside out, and everything that we do as far as our calls from our alignment, our calls are based on doing one thing. Our calls don't describe, okay, what the block is. Our calls just basically describe who you're working with. And all of our calls come from the inside out. Our center will make the first call. He'll always call out 3, 4, or 5 down. He'll call out who he's working with and who he's working to. Period. So in our zone run game, our outside zone now, versus a zero technique, he's going to work an RL with the backside guard, okay, to the zero on back linebacker. So the first linebacker behind him. And everybody else will fit in around that. With that RL will come a slip on the play side and a C on the backside. To a 1 technique, again, this is to it. So if he's going to a 1 technique, it'll be an apple. He'll bring the backside guard and tackle with him. It'll end up being a slip on the play side. Remember, if the center's working with somebody on the backside, either the backside guard or the backside tackle, he's always working to the backside linebacker. If he's working with the play side people, then he's working to the play side linebacker. Okay, again, this is a box declared play, so we are working to the, our offensive line is working to that first linebacker in the box. Again, these are all calls by the center and what's driving the center. Versus a 2-eye. Versus a 2-eye, the guard's inside shoulders covered. He's going to RL to the play side linebacker, and we'll have a B on the backside. Versus a 3 technique. Okay, backside shoulder uncovered. That means he'll RL with the play side guard to the play side linebacker and will be on the backside. Versus a 3 technique, okay, on the play side, and his backside shoulder's covered, okay, he'll call triple, which means myself, the center, and the 2 guards are working against the 3 technique, the 1 technique, and the play side linebacker with a built-in C on the backside. Okay, versus a slant 5 technique, and again, this is on the outside. Okay, this is for the play side tackle versus slant 5. If you know that 5 is going to cross your face, no matter what's been said inside, that play side tackle can call big. And if he says big, he's telling that guard, you're coming with me. I need help on this 5 technique. He's going to come inside me, which means now the tackle will release for that play side linebacker. Center's got to hear the call as well in case he called an RL. If he had called an RL, then he has to know that he's all by himself right now. Most times a slanting 5 won't go with a 2-eye, so you really don't have that issue. Most times we get big calls, we'll be in a slip anyways. Okay, and here's all the calls, okay? And it shows you wide zone calls versus 0 technique. It shows you the call by the center. Same thing I just went through. And then it shows you what's going to be called on the backside and then what's going to be called on the play side. Same exact thing I went to, just put in a grid form for you. And then here's the different looks, okay? And it goes through every different look from a 4-2 over to a 4-2 under. And it just shows you exactly what was just written in those grids, okay? So you can see exactly what's driving the center, what's driving him to make his call. Everything fits. So you see versus a 2-eye up there on the top left, there's a 2-eye. He's going to work an L to the play side linebacker, which puts us in a B on the backside. And it just shows you right down the line exactly what you're going to do against each single different front. Remember now, you're going to go against 4 down, 3 down, and 5 down. 4-2 over, 4-2 under. A 3-2, a 3-3 stack, and 5 down are the base fronts. And they're all written there for you. Okay, here's a look. There's your pictures. Now let's just take a look at the plays. Okay, and here's a look at the plays. Okay, this is versus a 4-2 under. So 4-2 under, the center right here. He looks like he's uncovered. If he sees that as uncovered, he'll call L, which will put us in a B on the backside. Again, each man here is running for the play side half. Our target on outside zone is the outside half of the play side number. You can see the left guard is reaching the outside half. He knows he has help in the inside from the center. So this would be an L. Play side tackles by himself. You have an L and a B block on the backside. Now the only reason you're seeing the backside guard cut here is because the center must have called triple. When you're in a triple, if you're the backside man, which the guard is in a triple, he can cut the 1 technique. Remember, on the play side of our outside zone, we want to stay on our feet. But on the backside, so if I'm the center and I'm working with the backside people, I'm a backside blocker from the center on back, then I can cut. So here is a triple, which means the center is not on the backside, so he won't cut. But if the center at any time calls an apple, he'll cut, or he can cut. You only cut when you know you can get that guy on the ground. If he's not running with you fast, then you can't cut him. Every time you got a cut block, you take one more step than you think you need to. That's versus an under. Here's another under. So the center called triple. Now it's going to be a real heavy triple because look at the location of the linebacker. Remember, every double team is driven by the linebacker. So our center in this case is driven by that linebacker, which means he's going to be real heavy on the backside one technique. He still has to honor his play side gap because he called triple, so the left guard knows he has help inside. But they should all see, just based on what that Mike's doing before the play, that three's probably not slanting inside. And again, I'm just going through who you're blocking right now. We'll come back to the techniques later on. This is a 2-eye play side. So here's the center's calling RL. In this instance right here, the center knows, okay? He called RL in this case. But he really believes, if he believes that one technique is going to cross his face, this is an over front. If he believes that one technique is going to cross his face, he's always going to call Big Apple. In this case, it looks like he did call Big Apple anyways. So let's call this a one technique. Center calls Big Apple. That means there's a slip on the play side. You can see the right tackle in a cut. The right guard can't cut because the nose goes back with the center. The center's in a late cut on the nose guard. He's on the ground. The backside three technique's on the ground. And again, everybody, it doesn't matter what level you're blocking, you're always attacking the outside half of that defender's body. So if you end up on the linebacker, it doesn't matter if you're going to the linebacker level or whatever level you're on, you are reaching the defender. Here we are versus a 2-eye now. This is an L. This is an L and a B. Remember, on outside zone, okay, right now, that center's going to call L to that Mike linebacker. He's going to call out the first linebacker in the box, which means the B is going all the way back here. So our B block is going all the way back to here. Okay, all the way back to him. To that linebacker outside the hash. Play side tackle's got to stretch the defensive end. He has no help inside, which means you tighten his target down just a little bit, but don't hit the inside number. You still have to stretch the play side number. You have to threaten his outside half. This would be a heavy lift right here technique. Why? Because the location of the linebacker is behind me. And I'll go through all the techniques here in a little while. But we're in a heavy lift technique by the guard in the center. We're in a really heavy lift technique between the backside guard and backside tackle based on the location of the linebacker. Again, here's 3 down now. So the center will call R to that backside linebacker. And we'd be in a slip on the play side. Running back really has to press the line of scrimmage. Remember, in all of our zone blocking, we've got to keep the defense on the board. There can be no penetration. Our center's too deep in this play right here. The back's forced to make an early cut. Here we are against 3 down. Okay, and this is a gang call. Okay, so here's one of your situations. Okay, we're working our normal deal. Center's calling R back here. R to that backside linebacker. We're in a slip. +1 defender comes down outside the play side tackle. There's an extra defender outside the box that we haven't accounted for. He immediately calls gang. We will gang out to him. Whenever you gang, okay, you're targeting the face mask of that man over, the next man over from you. So right now, the left tackle is going to block that first man outside the box. He's targeting the face mask right down the middle of his body. The left guard will target that defensive end right down the middle of his body. And if you get knocked off, that's when you're going to get off to the next level. If you don't get knocked off, stay on that defender. If I'm the center right now, I'm going to target the next down defensive lineman's face mask. He'll be targeting that defensive end as well and trying to get that play side guard off on the play side linebacker. Backside guard, you're targeting the face mask of that nose guard. And when you're on the backside of any gang call, you're ripping your backside shoulder across the next defender on the line of scrimmage next to you. you're ripping your backside shoulder across his face. So that right guard will get his backside shoulder across that nose guard. That backside tackle will get his backside shoulder across that nose guard up to the next level. On your third step, if you haven't blocked anybody, you climb. But there's your gang. Now let's talk about your responsibilities and your techniques. Player responsibilities and techniques. Your base rule in a zone blocking play is your play side gap. So, of course, if the ball's going to the right, it's from my nose to the man next to me's nose to my right. If the ball's going to the left, it's from my nose to the man next to me's nose to my left. It's that simple. You're responsible for that area. It's a 3-step operation. So outside zone is a 3-step operation. Tight zone is a 1-step operation. That means you're going to take 3 steps to attack that man on the line of scrimmage. And if I'm not in connection with a defensive lineman after 3 steps, I am the climber to the linebacker at that point. The block type is a reach. It's a reach block. I'm staying square with the line of scrimmage, and I am reaching the outside half of the defender. Alignment, zone. You're always going to align off the football. Get off the ball, which means when you're in a 3-point stance, you put your hand on the shoelace of the center's shoe. It's that simple. So I put my hand on the ground even with the shoelace of the center. Splits are tight. We want to get the ball on the edge, so on average, splits are tight. Remember, our splits are this. Normal is 2 foot, tight is 1 foot, wide is 3 foot. So in this case, we want the splits to be tight, 1 foot splits on average. Double team aiming points, blocking 2 levels. You're blocking the line of scrimmage or the defensive lineman to the linebacker. If you're in a double team, if you're working with one other guy, you're working against 1 defensive lineman to 1 linebacker. If you're in a triple team, again, you're working against 3 people, either 2 defensive linemen and 1 linebacker, or 1 defensive lineman and 2 linebackers. Either way, you're going to end up one-on-one blocks at the end of the play if we did it right. Covered. If you're in a double team, okay? If you're the covered man, you're aiming at the play side half, at the play side number. So in an outside zone, we aim at the outside half of the play side number, okay? But if you're covered, you're aiming at the outside half of the play. You're really just aiming at the play side number if you're the covered man. If you're the uncovered man, you're aiming at the midline or the helmet. So covered is the play side number, uncovered is the midline. Here's the scenarios that can happen right now. Okay? If you're the uncovered man, this is what you can see. The defender's at me, the defender's going to sit, or the defender's going to go away. Either way, if you're the covered man, you're reaching that guy. If you're the uncovered man, you're going to see the defender come at me, the defender's going to sit, or the defender's going to go away. And I'll go through exactly how we're going to block all those different scenarios. Okay, let's talk about our double teams. Again, here's our double team mentality. Okay, remember now, every time that we're in a double team, one of us is either covered and one of us is uncovered. Okay, if you're the covered man, okay, you're either covered on your outside shoulder or your inside shoulder 95% of the time. 5% of the time he may line up head up. But most of the time he's either going to cover your inside or your outside shoulder. Remember, when you're the covered man, you're always working in the zone game with someone that's behind me. You're never going to work with anyone that's in front of me, of course, because he would have to be working backside, and he would never do that. So if you're the covered man, you're always working with someone behind you. So where is your help? Your help is behind you if you're the covered man. If you're the uncovered man, your help is in front of you, period. And you always want to know where your help is, no matter what you're doing, no matter what scheme we're running, whether we're throwing the ball or running the ball. Something that's driving inside your head is, where is my help at all times? Our double team fits. Remember, we do not stack each other in our zone game. You want to end up hip to hip. So when you freeze the frame and you're in a zone blocking double team and you both hit the target on the line of scrimmage, the defensive lineman, you want to end up, you should be hip to hip. One of you is blocking one number, the other one is blocking the other number. It's that simple. So we want to become one man. So if there's two 300-pound men that are blocking, that are on this double team, and they fit hip to hip, they really want to become one 600-pound man. And if you fit a defender up that way, we should blast people on these double teams. We do not stack each other in this offense. We do not block our own people. You do not block one of our own men in the back. If you find yourself blocking one of our own men in the back, you're wrong. You're blocking one half, and the person that's helping you is blocking the other half. Remember, okay, and when that becomes that case, okay, and you both are hip to hip, you become one body. Covered outside shoulder. Here's your scenarios, okay? Covered on your outside shoulder. The covered man. Your gap is threatened. You're going to reach that defensive lineman. That's simple for you. If you're covered on your outside shoulder, your gap is threatened. You're going to reach that defensive lineman. You know you have help inside. If you're the uncovered man, your gap is unthreatened. You are driven by the linebacker. So if your gap is unthreatened, you're the uncovered man. Your gap is unthreatened. You are driven by the linebacker. If you're covered, now covered man is with someone on his inside shoulder. The covered man, your gap is unthreatened because someone's on your inside shoulder. You're driven by the linebacker now. If you're the uncovered man, your gap is threatened. Even though he's covered, your gap is threatened because there's somebody in the gap between your nose and his nose, which means you have to reach that defensive lineman now. So who's the driving force? The man whose gap is not threatened is driven by the linebacker. Whoever's gap is not threatened is the man that's driven by the linebacker. Where is the linebacker to start the play? Is he out in front of me? Is he behind me? Where is he? If he's out in front of me, I know I gotta get going. If he's behind me, I know I gotta be real heavy on this deal. So it's all driven by that linebacker. Scenarios for the uncovered man. If you're the uncovered man, okay, and your gap is unthreatened, the defender's either at me, the defender is going to sit, or the defender is going to go away. One of those three things is going to happen. If you're the releaser, whoever's getting off to the linebacker, whoever is releasing for the linebacker, you're either in a hand check, you're in a gone technique, a Rico technique, or a lift technique. One of those four. When are you in a hand check? If the linebacker's plussed, but he's shaded on me, I'm in a hand check, which means I'm just going to give hand help on the defensive lineman as the lineman behind me takes over. When am I in a gone call? I'm in a gone situation, and I have to say the word gone, okay, to the man behind me. If the linebacker's out in front of the double team, if that linebacker is totally off my body, I am in a gone situation. When am I in a Rico? Which means I am going to attack the defensive lineman and ricochet out to the linebacker. I'm going to do that when the linebacker is stacked. When am I in a lift technique? I'm in a lift technique if the linebacker is behind the double team. So if the linebacker is behind the double team, I'm going to lift that man off the line of scrimmage until that linebacker threatens my play side gap. The intent is at the finish of the play, we all want to be blocking the play side half of a defensive lineman or a linebacker. Period. Okay, let's talk about the double teams right now and the different scenarios. In this scenario that you're looking at right now, okay, we're covered on our outside shoulder. So again, there's a covered man and an uncovered man. When we're covered on our outside shoulder, again, this is any two offensive linemen, okay, on an outside zone play. This can be the center and the guard. This can be the guard and the tackle. It really doesn't matter. The mentality that you need is covered or uncovered. Okay, covered and your gap threatened, covered or your gap is unthreatened. So this double team mentality right now, the covered man, your gap is threatened in this case, which means you have to reach that defensive lineman. So he's driven by that D lineman right now. His gap is threatened. He has to block his gap. Uncovered man, your gap is unthreatened, which means you're driven by the linebacker. Yes, you're the uncovered man. We're both still blocking the line of scrimmage, but you are driven by the line. You are driven by the linebacker. That linebacker, if he flies over the top, of course, you're going to be forced to really attack that defensive lineman. If he sits behind, you're probably going to end up being the climber and going to that linebacker or snapping opposite and coming and driving up to that linebacker. Okay, who's the driving force? Again, the man whose gap is not threatened by the defensive lineman. You're the driving force. In this case, that would be the square or the center in this case. Scenarios. Okay, if you're the uncovered man, here's your scenarios. Okay, the defender is either at me, so that tackle is either coming at me, that tackle is going to sit, or that tackle is going to go away. Okay, and then we'll talk about all the different scenarios that can happen from there. You know, if the defender comes at me, now that the circle or the right guard, okay, if the defender comes at me, I now become the covered man, and I'm going to block my gap, and now the guard will become the releaser. If the defender sits, okay, in all of our zone blocking game, if the defender sits, I still want to try and reach it. If I can't reach it, I'm going to push it back over to his lap. If the defender goes away, I'm going to snap opposite and climb. The intent is at the finish of the play, both of us are blocking the play side half of either the defensive lineman or the linebacker. Each one of us will end up in a one-on-one block. Okay, defender at me. When the defender comes at me, again, let's just talk about their targets to start the play. If I'm the right guard in this case, or the covered man, my target is the play side number. If I'm the uncovered man, my target is the midline, which will end up being the near number. Okay, if that's the case in this one now, the defender is at me. I'm talking about the uncovered man at the beginning of the play, which is the center in this case, or the square. Defender at me, okay, I'm going to end up drive blocking that defender. I'm targeting, again, the midline, which will put me in great position to drive block him and then finish in a reach block on him. In this case, the mic is behind the play. So if you're the right guard, you start the play reaching the tackle. I know I have help inside if I'm the circle or if I'm the covered man, which means once he slants inside and the mic is all the way behind, I'm in a lift technique right now. I'm going to lift that 3 technique or that outside shoulder technique back to the man inside me, and I'm going to climb for the play side half of the mic in this case. Here's a look at it on video. So we're running outside zone to the left in this case. So we're looking at what you see here is the left guard and the left tackle. So the left guard and the left tackle right now, again, all of our zone blocking principles stay intact. So they're working a slip right now. The center calls R to that backside backer. They're working a slip. The guard and tackle are working together to that linebacker over their head. Solid job by the left tackle putting this on the guard's lap. The guard's target's a little bit wide on this. His target should be a little bit tighter. Solid job. The guard ends up reaching the 5 technique, and the tackle ends up as the releaser here. He wants to lift. He's got to get out of there to the play side half of that linebacker. That's a solid job. Okay, here it is again up close. With him getting off, with the tackle getting off. As you can see, everybody's sprinting off the football. Look at the second step by the covered man. Outside shoulder covered. Second step is up the field, man. Up the field. Your second step is always up the field. The only time you can ever cross over in a double team is when you're in a double team. It's the only time you can ever, if you have help inside you, it's the only time you can ever cross over your backside foot, which he didn't need to do in that case, and he didn't. Okay, here we are running the ball to the right. So our center now is the uncovered man. Our right guard is the covered man. But now watch. This is the scenario for the uncovered man, or the center in this case, is color at me. Which means once if I'm the right guard, I'm reaching that 3 technique. Once that color goes inside, that linebacker's stacked inside of me, which means I can lift that defensive lineman. In this case, okay, he considers this color to be flashing, this linebacker to be flashing. So he uses a hand technique as a hand check by 61. So 61 uses the hand check. And he still, watch 61 release to the second level. He stays on the run, great footwork. Great footwork, terrible hairdo, great footwork to get to the second level. He stays square the whole time. He gives good hand and body presence to the uncovered man inside him. and he's off to the second level, again with the intent being that he ends up on the play side half of that linebacker. Now watch the uncovered man. Again, the uncovered man's target is the midline of that covered man, of that that 3 technique. So he's aiming at the midline, which means if you aim at the midline right now and that guy slants at you like he's doing, you'll have great contact with that man's body, which you see the center do in this case. It's a great target by him. That's why we aim at the midline. Because if he slants at me and you're aiming at the midline, you're really going to hit him right down the core of his body, which is what we're looking for. He hits him right at the core, he gets great position on him, and he just reaches him. It's a good-looking double team. Again, here it is up close. You really end up with 2 of them now. You end up with 2 great looks for the double team here. The tight end and the tackle. That's a tough clip. The tight end and the tackle, and then the guard and the center. That thing jumps out real quick. But look at the 2 different levels here. Let's look at the right tackle and number 75 and number 87. So if you look at 75 and 87, 75 is driven by the linebacker. He's uncovered. Okay, now his gap ends up being threatened here after the first step because the 9 technique slants inside. So he ends up driven there, and then 87 ends up as the releaser. 61 right now, him in the center. 61's gap is threatened. He's reaching the defensive lineman. Defensive lineman slants. He becomes the releaser to the second level. The linebacker's stacked. He has to push that back over to the center's lap or the uncovered man's lap. The uncovered man with the center and the right guard right now is driven by the midline. He's attacking the midline of the covered man or the outside shade of 61. Now let's go to the scenario where he sits, okay? Okay, so now he's covered on his outside shoulder. The defender sits. Now in this case, an outside zone, if the defender sits, we still want to try and reach him. If you can't reach him, push him back over. But really, in this case, when he sits, we still want to try and reach him. Again, if you can't reach him, and push him back over. But you're really trying to reach him. And again, if he sits, if you're the right guard in this case, or the covered man, and you've got him reached, you stay with the reach. If all of a sudden you feel him being taken over by the uncovered man, you become the releaser. Okay, here we're looking at 61 again in the center. Again, he's really not slanting. He's just kind of getting reached. He's stepping with his inside foot. Good push on the double team. We're attacking the line of scrimmage. I'd like to see the right guard here get his left step more up the field, more in an assault mode up the field. Good target by 70, the center. And solid fit. This is a good-looking fit right there. That's a good-looking fit on the double team. You can see they're both hip to hip. They're not blocking each other. They're hip to hip, and they're moving the line of scrimmage. Here you are in the tight version now. With the 2 of them, you can see the color kind of sits. That's a good fit right there. Good fit. 2 of them are hip to hip, shoulder to shoulder. I can see both. The running back can see both of their numbers. We're in a dead sprint off the football here, and you can see everybody sprinting. Great timing of the get off. Again, if I'm the right guard right here, don't get off until a linebacker threatens my play side half or threatens my gap. Here you are with the right guard. Again, the right guard in the center. You got to give 77 a little love. He's very emotional. So here's 77 is the right guard. Good target, good footwork. Again, his play side gap at the start of the play is threatened. He's covered on his outside shoulder. He has to block that man. Once that man goes inside of him, he now becomes the releaser. Solid fit by him and the center. And again, he still has to get to the outside half right here. 77 has to get to that linebacker's outside half. He has to get that guy. He's got to get, once that three technique slants inside or is sitting inside, he's got to continue to run. Good initial fit. Good target and initial fit to start that play. There's two techniques we'll use if you're getting held. Here's a good look at this. If you look at 77, that three technique may be holding him. If he's holding him, okay, you either chop his hand off or you rip up through it. You're either chopping down. Most of the time, the best thing to do is to fight your left hand here in his case and chop that guy's arms off you. And we'll work on those techniques. Or you can rip up underneath him and get through. Either way, you got to get through and get to that linebacker. Okay, and here's the third scenario when you're covered on your outside shoulder. Is the color goes away. When the color goes away, obviously the play side man has to block it, and the backside man, the uncovered man, or the square in this case, we will tell him, the phrase we always use is to snap opposite. You're snapping opposite because if the defensive line is slanting away from you, if that three technique is slanting away, that means the rest of the D-line behind him is also slanting in the same direction. So somebody behind us might have had struggled with that, and we want to try and snap opposite to shear him up and then climb to our linebacker. Let's take a look at that. Here we are looking at at both guards. So here's both guards. Let's look at the left guard and the left tackle. Yeah, if I'm the left guard right now, I step at my target. 1, 2, 3. 3 good steps and he climbs. You can't get any better than that. Left guard again. 1, 2, 3. He's in a dead sprint right now. Look at him. I can see his number the whole time. 1, 2, 3. He's driving at the midline of the defensive end. Good target by the left tackle. Look at how square the left tackle stays in this case. Again, he's in a dead sprint off the football. He's targeting the outside half or the play side number of that defensive end. Your toes are always pointed down the field. And if you can't get him reached because he's sprinting to the sideline, like in this case, you'll snap him out and drive block him to the sideline, which is what 76 does. If you can't get him reached, run him out of there. But either way, you should stay on the run the whole time. 71 stays on the run, attacks the linebacker's outside half, and reaches the outside half. Everything else is the running back's problem. Stay on the outside half. See, in this case right here, watch the center. The center's in an R call with our right guard. So let's watch the center's block with the backside guard. Okay, again, color goes away. If I'm the uncovered man, if I'm the right guard right now, that's color away. I'm blocking the midline of the nose guard. Color goes away. I snap opposite and climb. And again, when you say snap opposite, again, it's a term in outside zone. It usually works out better in tight zone for them to actually be able to snap opposite. It's a mentality. In outside zone, very rarely will you see them ever. He won't be able to shear it up for the backside guy unless the backside guy is just totally beat. That's a good job. And again, if you watch 61 on this, he puts the brakes on 1, 2, 3. He can't get the color. He continues to climb. There's nothing awkward about his body. His weight isn't over his left foot too much where he's off balance. He's sprinting for that target. If the target goes away, climb to the next level and assault the second level. Watch 71. He's in an assault. He's climbing to that second level and creating space for the running back. And again, one of the terms you'll hear us use here is create space. Move defenders. If you stalemate with a defender, he wins. It's a battle for a piece of land. Here's the tight look at it. Again, here's 71, second level. Again, well, let's watch 76 first. He's attacking the play side half. The guy won't let him do it. If the guy won't let him do it, remember, our running back is attacking the outside leg or 1 yard outside the offensive tackle, right in that area. Which means right here, if he just stayed on the run, which I know he can't because the center gives up a little penetration here, but if we did get that nose reached, he could still stay right on that track and that thing would be wide open for him right now. 76 just stays on the run. The man jumps outside, snap him out and run him. 71, 3 steps, 1, 2, 3, nothing there, climb. And assault the linebacker. You know, it's a good hustle by 70. It's a good target by 70 here. And again, he does everything he can to keep this guy on the line of scrimmage. He's fighting his tail off to keep this man on the line of scrimmage. Okay, here's a look from the other angle. Now you're on the backside. Okay, let's watch again, it's the same exact scenario, right? Identical scenario. If you're the tackle back there right now, okay, color goes away. Again, the guard is covered on his play side shoulder. Okay, so if I'm the backside tackle, if I'm the left tackle in this case, okay, I'm uncovered. I'm driven by the linebacker. It's a little bit different on the backside, but not much. If that guy slants, that backside tackle, this is a B call back there for us. So if that two-eye slants, or the covered man, the covered outside shoulder slants, then that backside tackle is going to block him, and the left guard now will climb to the backside backer. It really is no different. Yeah, we're going to use a different technique. We're going to cut on the backside. If you end up in a single block, you're going to cut. This is a good job by the left tackle here because he knows he can't cut the guy. There's no reason to cut him. You've got him reached, so just stay on the reach. Now, what he does incorrectly is this. Watch him bring his right hand into the block. Don't bring your play side hand into that block right there. Because once you square the guy up like that, now the guy continues to work back across your face, and you lose leverage on him. Keep your leverage. Keep your left hand. You've got him blocked with your left hand on the midline right there. Now keep working your left foot and your left hand through the middle of his body. Here it is from the tighter view. Look, at the thing you notice about both of them is the left guard and the left tackle is they're both sprinting off the football. Now our left guard, the mistake that he makes right there, he doesn't take one more step than he thinks he needs to. He should be taking at least 2 more steps right here. Take another 2 steps right here, and you're going to cut this guy. He gets enough of them to get the guy blocked. The guy's blocked. The guy does not make the tackle. But still, we could do a better job right there. Solid football. And again, the biggest thing being we're keeping everybody on the board and we are running off the football. All right, continuing on with our double teams in our zone blocking scheme. And our covered-uncovered principle. Here is covered on the inside shoulder. So when we're covered on the inside shoulder, as you can see, we have the nose guard playing on the inside shoulder, the right guard in this case, and the ball is going to the right. Okay, where you see the question marks is the 4 different positions, the 4 different possible positions of the linebacker that they're working to. And again, this could be any double team. That circle could be a tight end, and that square could be a tackle. That circle could be the tackle, and the square the guard, or the circle be the guard, and of course the square being the center. It could be any one of those possibilities. These are all the double teams. The double team mentality, okay, is covered man. Your gap is unthreatened now, which means you're driven by the linebacker. So how heavy you're going to play on that nose or how quickly you're going to get off that nose, but you're probably going to be the guy getting to linebacker level. So in this case, the covered man, your gap is unthreatened, which means you're the guy that's driven by the linebacker. You're going to be the releaser, odds have it. Uncovered man, your gap is threatened. You're going to reach that defensive lineman. Period. who's the driving force? The man whose gap is not threatened by the defensive lineman. In this case, it's the right guard. Scenarios. Okay, if you look at the first question mark, okay, again, and we'll go through all of them, but you'll end up working to the first question mark to the right would be a gone. Working to the second one would be a hand check. Working to the one stacked over the nose would be a Rico. And working to the one all the way back would be a live technique. And again, we're talking about the releaser. And the releaser usually is the one whose gap is unthreatened. Intent is the finish of the play. We want to block the play side half of the defensive lineman and the linebacker. Okay, here's your hand check, okay? And this is what we see most of the time. That's why we put them in this order. Okay, if that linebacker's plussed and shaded on me, okay, we call this a hand check for a release, which means right now, when that right guard or the right man, the circle here, the right man in the double team, when he's going to release, he's just going to give hand help on that nose guard. He's stepping off, targeting the play side half of the mic, and just giving hand help on the nose. If the nose doesn't come to him, or if the nose breaks away from him, he does not go to the nose. He is attacking the play side half of the mic linebacker and just giving hand help up on the nose guard for the inside uncovered man. Uncovered man is in a full zone reach to the play side half of that nose when he hears hand check. Here's a look at some. Okay, again, there's wide zone going to the right. Here, the right guard is the covered inside shoulder. His gap is unthreatened. He's driven by that linebacker. You watch his approach here. All he's doing is giving hand help. His original target is the play side half of 18. He's aiming at the 1. And he's got to get to that 1. So he doesn't want to lift. He doesn't want to step toward the nose guard. He wants to attack his target, which is 18, which is the 1 in 18's number. And on the way to that, he's going to give some hand help here. That's all he does. He's giving hand help to the center, in this case, whose gap is threatened, and the center is in a full reach on that nose. That's well done. Now again, watch the guard. When the guard gets to the second level, he should dig his left hand into the breastplate, left foot. So backside hand, backside foot into the breastplate and the crotch. Back's got to press him. Back does a good job, though. That safety comes down and forces him to cut the ball back. Again, as you see, this is a two-back play. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. These are wide zone blocking techniques. Here you are, the backside guard, okay, and the backside tackle. Again, the backside guard is covered on his inside shoulder, his shoulder away from the football. Now, this would be a lift technique. He uses a hand check. Why does he do that? He ends up using a hand check because that D lineman slants to his left. So he's in no position to lift him right here. Initially, he would be thinking this is a lift technique because 41 is stacked behind the defensive lineman. But right now, based on what that defensive tackle does, he's going to use a hand check to get out on the play side half of that linebacker. In the end, he's got to end up on the play side half of 41. That's well done. Now, if he were to stay in the lift and come back on this nose guard, he'd never get to 41, and 41 would blow up his play side shoulder. And he'd make that tackle at the line of scrimmage. Again, you get 2 to 3 yards inside the 5-yard line. That's a good run. That's what you're looking for. The backside tackle in this case, his gap is threatened. He's reaching that play side half. This is well done by him as well. The thing that both of them do on the backside, you can see they're both sprinting off the football. The backside tackle continues to work for play side leverage on this defensive tackle. And watch the tackle. The tackle is responsible for that gap. He's trying to fight back into that B gap. I mean, he's blocked. Okay, here's your Rico technique. Okay, so the next one is a Rico. And again, we're talking about covered on my inside shoulder. The covered man's covered on his inside shoulder. In this case, it's the right guard. Ball's going to the right. We're talking outside zone. Now the Mike linebacker, or the linebacker that they're working to, is stacked. When that linebacker is stacked, of course, we don't have to get out right now to get on the play side half of the Mike. So we want to give as much help on that down lineman as possible. So we're going to step with the play side foot, with the foot nearest the gap, our gap that we're responsible for. And we're going to lift with our shoulder and our forearm and our backside foot in the crotch and the play side half of that down lineman that's covering us. And this release we call a Rico release. So he's going to lift through that nose, and he's going to ricochet out. That's why we call it Rico. It's ricochet. He's going to ricochet out to the outside half of that Mike linebacker. Of course, knowing what the Mike's going to do in this play, the Mike's obviously going to break to my right if I'm the releaser, because that's where the ball's going, and I know that. So when you get out, how flat you get out off of this Rico, how flat you get off that nose, is all based on your ability and the linebacker's speed and his ability. So you might have to get out real flat to get to that linebacker if he's beating you over the top. If he stays in the stack, which he shouldn't, then you can be more direct and up the field with your release. Either way, you have to get to the play side half of that Mike. But of course, we want to give as much help on the line of scrimmage as possible, rather than just release and sit there waiting with that nose guard up the field in the backfield. So we're going to give that square, or the center in this case, as much help as we can. And we're off on the Mike. Again, when you're getting off of any double team, you push through to get off. You do not soften your backside shoulder on that down nose guard. Don't soften your backside shoulder. You got to push through with that backside hand and open the door for the uncovered man. Again, the uncovered man, or the center in this case, his gap is threatened. He's reaching that nose. Let's take a look at some. Again, we just want to show you from a practice standpoint. We didn't have any great clips of it, so we just want to show you exactly what we mean from a practice standpoint. Again, ball's going to the left in this case. That linebacker's stacked right behind this defensive lineman. 61 is the one using the Rico technique. 62 is reaching. His gap is threatened. Watch the footwork of 61 right here. Okay, he's already got the nose guard reached. The linebacker's stacked behind. He's going to Rico. Just pick your play side foot up and down in place. The furthest up the field you'd go with it would be 2 inches right now. Up and down in place, up to 2 inches. Shoot your second step or your backside foot in the crotch. Your forearm lifting, just blast through and open this doorway for him. And you're ricocheting off at whatever angle you need to get to the play side half of that linebacker. That's pretty damn good. Watch 62. He's on the backside. He's reaching the play side half. He knows he's in a Rico technique right now based on the position of the linebacker, so he knows he's going to get a nice door opener by 61. 62 is in the reach, and finish with your backside hand, backside foot. Very good. Here we are going to the right. So now 51's the covered man. Again, good first step. He's lifting through with the backside hand or backside foot. 63 right here. Now remember, if you're in a backside B block right here, 63 exactly. If you're in a backside B, you want to be more in a takeover mode right now. Okay? If you're on the play side here, okay, 63's target should be a little bit tighter. But not bad. Okay. Now let's just talk about the gone. Okay? The gone is when the linebacker's in front of the double team. So he's not covering my body at all, which means I got to get out of here to get to him. obviously I have to go right now if I'm going to block this Mike. He's going to break on the ball. The ball's obviously going to the right, which means I'm going to make a gone. I'm going to tell that center, or the uncovered man in this case, that I'm gone. He has no help, which means I'm out to my target. I'm running off the football. I'm not giving any help on the nose guard. I've got to go. Now, in this case, a lot of times, if you make a gone call, and there's usually somebody on your outside shoulder, another offensive lineman, then you could tell him that you're working with him as well, okay, and get some help from him. But just for our teaching purposes now, you'd make a gone call to this man. Anytime you're going to leave any double team here, okay, and you're going to leave it, you need to just say gone to let the guy know that you're working with, that you're no longer going to be there to help him. Which means, obviously, if that's the case in any double team, it changes his mentality and changes his aiming points and targets. So here, the play side man or the guard, ball's going to the right, is releasing for the Mike to the play side half. Okay, the uncovered man whose gap is threatened now, he has to open step and really work to get his backside shoulder across that man's chin and reach him. You're in a single reach now once you get a gone call if you're the uncovered man. Let's take a look at these. Okay, here you see we're running sub to the right. We're running wide zone to the tight end. And again, this is our unbalanced look. So we have two tackles to the right side. It's another way that we run it. So 76 in this case is working with 71. The linebacker walks up outside. Obviously, he cannot help 71 now on the down man. He's got to release on his own to the outside half of that down man, or the plus linebacker in this case. Which means 71 now is really working for play side leverage on his man. 76 is working for play side leverage on his man. 71's not bad right here. That guy just will not let him get there, which means if he won't let you get there, you snap your inside leg and your inside hand and you force him out. Continue with the reach. This is a good job on the double team in the middle here, between the center and the right guard as well. Good push by both of them. This ends up being a push block. Guard gets him reached. The three fights back outside. And the center pushes it back over to his lap. It's well done. Okay, here's outside zone again. Okay, the right guard and the right tackle. This is a little bit different look for us, but this is a gone. 71's making the gone, and he's out to the next level. He cannot help on that 5 technique. 61's got to take off and reach him. 71's got to get out of there to get to the play side half. You've got to communicate that. Okay, here's a lift technique. The linebacker's behind the defensive lineman. In this case, he's really stacked behind the defensive lineman. He's behind the double team. So now, obviously, we want the releaser, or the right guard in this case, okay, to lift that nose guard. That linebacker is not threatening your play side half or not threatening your gap yet. So if he's going to be way behind the play, we're obviously going to lift that down lineman for as long as possible. So in this case, again, we pick our play side foot up and down, take a 2-inch step. Second step, backside foot is in the crotch, backside hand is on the midline. I'm blocking the play side number. Okay, in this case right here, the linebacker's behind. So now if I'm the uncovered man or the square, I'm blocking the helmet. I'm blocking the midline of that defensive lineman. I've got to be ready to come off that nose if that Mike shoots backside. If that Mike shoots backside, then that square's got to be able to get off on him. If he walks up backside, you never just go back on him. We will zone him from behind if he ever walked up backside. And you'll just continue on the double team to whatever other linebacker comes free over the top. But if from depth, from linebacker depth, if he were to shoot a backside gap, that uncovered man in this case, which is the square, he'd have to come back on that Mike and that guard would pin that nose. But right here, the guard wants to lift that nose. That square wants to block that nose. The circle's going to put the nose on the square's lap and release to the mic. Let's take a look at some. Again, here we are in a spread set, one back. Box declared. Okay, as you can see, I'm working with the left guard in the center. They're in a lift technique right here. Excellent footwork by the left guard. I'd like to see him get excellent initial footwork. I'd like to see him get his right foot more up the field. But he does a good job. And watch, the thing I love about what he does right here is this. His right foot's in the crotch. He's using his shoulder in the initial block, his shoulder and his forearm. And watch, when he gets off this block, he gets out to the play side half of that linebacker. He's out to the play side half. And watch, now the center, in this case, the center's in a full reach. He's reaching that nose guard's play side half. It's well done. The center may be targeted a little bit wide, but in the end, well done. The backside, too, have the same situation, the backside B block between 61 and 75. The only thing I would say to 61 in this case is, okay, we're running wide zone right now. If you have a 3 technique on your backside shoulder, you'd love to widen your split and take a wide split, a 3-foot split, just to naturally widen that defense. This backside 5 technique is pretty close to the play because of the split of the backside guard. So if I'm the backside guard and I know I got a B block right here, anytime there's a B block, get away from that center and widen that defensive front. Again, this is wide zone. We're looking at the left guard in the center. Solid footwork by the left guard. I like to see that right foot more in the crotch. That right foot's a little bit too far to the left. Split that man. His left foot drops too. He doesn't want to drop that left foot. You've already got the guy reached. The linebacker is behind. You're going to lift this defensive lineman. So take a lead step with your left foot 2 inches up the field. And shoot your right foot right in the crotch. I like how he targets with his shoulder and his forearm into the defensive tackle's body. Good job by the center, except for the center's got to keep coming. Good release, final release by 65. Center's got to keep coming. Center's got to work his right hand, his backside foot right here. Backside hand, backside foot. Again, we're drilling covered, uncovered. So now we'll talk about covered on the outside shoulder initially. And we're really talking about the uncovered man and what he sees. So he'll either see color at me, color sitting, or color away. And I'll talk about wide zone and tight zone. Here we go, the defender's at me. So we're talking about what the square sees. Again, in any of these double teams, okay, the circle in this case, or the lead man in the double team, ball's going to the right, okay, his outside shoulder's covered, which means initially, when at the start of the play, he's reaching that man. That's what he sees in front of him. He's not driven by the linebacker. Okay, the square is driven by the linebacker. But now, if you're the square, we're always blocking the line of scrimmage first. So the circle's target is the play side number. The square's target is the midline of the tackle, the defensive tackle. And now, as he approaches that, color comes at me. There's 3 scenarios that can happen. Color at me, color sit, color away. It's the only 3 things they can do. If that color comes at me, I'm going to end up blocking it. And now the circle will end up being the releaser, and he'll use the releaser techniques. Remember, somebody's always blocking the line of scrimmage, and somebody's always the releaser to the second level, obviously. Let's take a look at some. Now this is outside zone. Remember, in outside zone, we're scoop blocking. We're trying to take him over. In inside zone, we're trying to push block and put it back on his lap. And when you get color at me like this, there will be no push blocking here. We'll be taking this over. But let's talk outside zone. We're talking about what 71 sees right now. 71 sees color at me. He's targeting the midline. So if he targets the midline, he's going to end up probably on the play side half, just like he does right here. Again, your first step puts you in position to block your target, which is the midline of that down man. He comes at me, now I'm in a full reach on him. Run at him. I don't love the second step of 71 here. Second step's got to be straight at that target. Again, with your nose being the thing that you're targeting, or your nose is actually what you're trying to put on your target. So if I'm targeting the midline, I'm putting my nose on the midline of that defender. If he's flat like that, I'll end up on the play side half. If he's right into me, I'll end up banging him and then end up in the reach. 76, the linebacker's inside. The defender's almost head up. So 76, his first step is too wide. He basically already has this man reached. The linebacker's inside. He can pick his left foot up and down in place or take a 2-inch step. He can work anywhere from 0 to 2 inches up the field. There's no reason to soften your left foot here. 76 has to end up on the second level and get to the play side half. Here we are, ball's going to the right. So now 76 is the uncovered. He's the releaser. 71's gap is threatened to start the play. He thinks he's reaching that. He knows his help is inside. 76 is targeting the midline. Color at me. I'm running through that color. Again, my target is the midline, running through the color, reaching it. 71 releases. Backside hand, backside foot in the crotch for both of them to finish the play. And just a continuation. Again, 76 is left step. It's too wide. There's no reason why it has to be that wide right here. That defender's almost head up. Again, his initial target is the play side number. And watch, the play side number right here, he's not targeting that. He's targeting too wide. Good target by 65. Look, he ends up hitting him right in the midline and then finishes with a reach. The reason the uncovered man does not target the play side number is because if that covered man, if that defensive lineman slants inside you and you aim at the play side number and he's a good player, he'll run right around you. And good finish. And good look here. And just a continuation. 61's target's a little bit wide here, and he ends up almost blocking 75. Again, this is a good job by 75. Again, when we target, we hit the numbers of the defensive linemen. We want to be hip to hip. Not bad. 73 can be a little bit more. It's not a bad first step. It's pretty good. He could be a little bit more up the field. That defender's almost head up on him, though. Solid. Okay, defender sits. Again, wide zone. Now the defender's sitting. Remember now, on wide zone, when the defender sits, we want to try and take him over. If he will not let us do that, if you take your third step in wide zone and he won't let you do that, then push him back on his lap. But you should be fighting to do that. Your intent should be to take him over if you're the uncovered man. In tight zone, if he's sitting, the intent of the circle, of course the ball's going to the right, the intent of the circle is to stay on that block, and the intent of the square is to push him back over to the circle. So tight zone, again, we're push blocking our double teams, trying to push block any sitting technique. In wide zone, we're trying to take it over. Let's take a look at some wide zone sits. Ball's going to the left. Now that defensive lineman's sitting on 76. Watch 76. Again, he's reaching the play side number now of that defensive end. That's the left guard and the left tackle. Ball's going to the left. Good first step. This is a solid first step by 76. Solid. Right hand in the midline, backside hand in the midline, backside foot in the crotch. His backside foot's a little bit wide. He wants to be a little more up the field with this. A little more up the field. Remember, when you're on the play side of outside zone, you want to create an edge. Create an edge. Good fit right there. Pretty good fit. Like to see 76 a little bit tighter on that fit right there. Remember, it's all about the fit on these double teams. That's a solid fit here. Solid. Okay, like to see 65 not bad. Like to see him a little bit more up the field here. But I think it's a good first step by him. Good first step by 73. This is solid. Now watch. Watch 73, the lead man here. The mistake he's making is his second step. Watch the second step. It's too wide. It should be more up the field. Because he's going to end up being the releaser right here, which means if he's going to end up being the releaser, he wants to be more up the field in a lift technique. More of a lift when you're trying to create an edge. Here's the defender sitting in tight zone now. Let's compare it to tight zone. Now we want to push it. That's right. And when you want to push it, now watch 62 here. Whenever you know it's tight zone, if it's wide zone, you know that linebacker in the back there, he's gonna scrape over the top. Odds have it. He's going to scrape over the top to make that play because the ball's going wide to the right. Well, now in tight zone, the ball's targeting downhill. So it's targeting more at that linebacker. So when that linebacker sees that back's numbers, he'll be more downhill. So we want to push the D lineman out and climb to the backer. In wide zone, when that linebacker sees the shoulder of the running back, he's going to sprint for the edge, which means now in wide zone, we want to get off. We want to get that lead man off to the next level and let the uncovered man take over. But in tight zone right here, when this defensive lineman sits, we want to push that defensive lineman back over to 62's lap or the covered man's lap. And the only way to do that now is 62 has to pick his outside foot up and down, take a 2-inch step, left foot's in the crotch, but he wants to target a little bit tighter right now So yeah, he's aiming at the inside half of the play side number. Not the outside half, but the inside half of the play side number now, knowing that he's going to be blocking that defensive lineman, odds have it, unless he's in a slant. But here he's sitting, so that inside uncovered man's going to push it back over to my lap. Push and be square to get off. Ball's going to the left. And really shove it over there. Now the thing we want to do, if you're the uncovered man here in tight zone, so 75, you really want to step right at that near hip of that defensive lineman. You really want to step right at that near number. So in tight zone, 77's blocking the inside half of the play side number. 75 is blocking the inside half of the near number. You really want to lead step right up the field here. He's drop stepping a little bit too much, 75 is here. Really want to lead step right at that hip and push that right back over to him. Because it's real difficult for that uncovered man. If you open step like 75's doing here, it's difficult to get to that linebacker to square up on that linebacker. Whereas if you just lead step right at that near hip, puts you in great position to shove it back over to 77 and climb. You end up in great position, though, 75 here and 77. Here's the defender away. And again, these are all drills and how we drill our zone game. This is tight zone, defender away. Again, tight zone is a one-step operation. Very good by 61. Defender goes away. You snap opposite and clean up behind you and climb to the second level. 76, watch his backside foot here. The first step is not on the ground quick enough, 76, and your backside foot is shuffling to the left. It needs to be up the field. You're assaulting that defensive lineman. Ball's going to the right. Again, you're going to clean up back inside. Take one step on the uncovered 77 and climb. Snap opposite and climb. Now the covered man outside shoulder here. Watch your first step. You still have to put your body in position to block your target. Like 75 right here is wrong. 75 needs to get his hat on the play side half of this defensive end. The inside half of the play side number. And you really have to listen and pay attention to the detail of the actual part of the target that you're hitting. Yeah, it's the play side number, but it's the inside half of the play side number right here. This is tight zone. Color away. Because right now, if you aim like you're aiming right here and you're the lead man, 75 here, that defensive end, he can run right around you right here. He could run right around you. He's going to be fast enough. You want to threaten his defensive technique as well. Now the linebacker's flowing a little bit more. One step and climb for 71. 76 is too wide here. Too wide. And this might be a wide zone clip. Yeah, this is a tight zone clip here. Again, 75, you have to get your hat play side. You have to target the inside half of the play side number. Good footwork by 61. Remember, when you take your first step, the first step we take, we want it to be a 2-inch step, approximately 2 inches. The second step always gains ground. 75's got to gain ground with that second step. But initially, his first step is not putting his body in position to block his target, which is the inside half of the play side number. Okay, here's a look at the three-man now. And again, this is a look at in tight zone. Okay? All you're doing right now is looking at the center and 51. So you're looking at 78 and 51. And this is really 78's the covered man, 51's the uncovered man, and this is a snap opposite. This is color away. So 51 sees color go away. That nose should be going away a lot more than that. And then 51's going to snap opposite and climb. I didn't even put a linebacker in there for this drill. But this is what a snap opposite looks like. Again, same thing. 77 is working with 71. Ball's going to the left. Color goes away. When color goes away, and that color should be going away a lot quicker in the drill. When color goes away, 77 snaps opposite and cleans it up and then climbs to his backer. And this has to be drilled. This is not easy, but it is very doable. Okay, let's talk about the releases. Again, here's the lift technique. So the circle, ball's going to the right. The circle's going to be the releaser. Obviously, we're going to heavy lift this. The linebacker's behind the double team. We're going to give a lot of help here. Ball's going to the left, which means right now that left guard or the lead man in this double team, he should take a 2-inch step with his left foot. He's already got the man reached, which means he should be hugging the football. Your alignment, yeah, you can still be slightly off, but you can hug the football with your alignment if you've already got the man reached. But you're never wrong if you're in the off position, which means your hand, when you put it down, is on the shoelace of the center. But he could hug right here because he's already got the man reached and he's ripping through to get to that linebacker that's stacked. Take a 2-inch step with your play side foot. Right foot's in the crotch. Backside foot, backside hand. Lift with the backside hand. Shoot your backside foot in the crotch. Uncovered man is taking this over. His aiming point, his base rule for his aiming point is the midline. If you're on the backside and it's a B lift, okay, you're going to be more pronounced in taking over the play side half of that defensive lineman. Solid job by 77 here. Like to see that right foot more in the crotch, though. Watch the right foot go to the left too much. Needs to be more in the crotch. Watch the first step by 71 right here. It's short. Short 2-inch step. His shoulders are always facing at an angle out to where he's going to release. Watch his backside foot. It's right up the field in the crotch, and it's up the field. 2-inch step, and then shoot your backside foot. Lift through and open the doorway for 76. Solid. Again, right foot, right hand in the crotch. Good. Got to step, both step and play side foot. Again, attacking the line of scrimmage. Very good. Again, the linebacker's behind. We are going to lift the line of scrimmage. Now, 71 right here is stepping to the right. Looks like he's stepping about 3 inches to the right. He really doesn't have to do that. He wants to step more up the field with that right foot. 2 inches up the field. Because we don't want to soften ourselves on that down lineman at all. We want to blast him. We want to lift him open right now. If you got a great linebacker behind him that's really fast, you might end up in a ricochet getting out of here. Whatever it takes. But if he's that far behind, we really want to be thinking lift. Let's go to Rico. Again, linebacker stack. We've already been through it. Linebacker stack. Let's take a look. Again, this is how we drill it. Now the linebacker's stacked right behind the defensive lineman. Ball's going to our left. Again, it's identical technique to the lift initially, except for now we're going to have to release to get out of there. It's going to be a quicker release. You're not going to be lifting. You've got to bang the door open and then get through it. On the lift technique, we are blasting the door open, and we are kicking the door down. Here, we're just banging the door open, and then we're getting through it. Again, ending up on the play side half of the linebacker and the defensive lineman. Good job by the backside lineman here. by the uncovered man. In the finish right there. Watch him finish with his right hand, right foot. Remember, no matter what block you end up on, whether it's linebacker or defensive lineman, you end up in a reach block on the play side half. The other thing is this. When you're releasing to the second level, sprint to the second level. Watch 61 come off this. Sprint right here. Sprint and get to the play side half. Remember, when we get to linebacker level, we want to knock down those linebackers. You want to knock him down. We're not covering anybody up. You want to knock him down. .61 would be a lot quicker if he had a little less hair. But his hair weighs about 30 pounds. Here we go. The ball's going to the right. Again, we're in a ricochet technique. So 51's got to get out of there. I like his left foot, his backside foot here. I'd like to see him be a little more physical. But he really can't be that much more physical because the man with the bag isn't playing into him hard enough. That's pretty good. First step is solid. A little bit to the right, but not bad. 2-inch step up the field, solid target by both of them. Here's the hand check. Again, the linebacker's plus, but shaded on me. And again, these are all releaser rules. Again, we're never working back. We're working toward our linebacker, toward our final destination. That linebacker's plussed. And it really ends up being this simple. It's us two against those two. It's us two against a defensive lineman to a linebacker. Well, if that linebacker's threatening the play to our left, then the left lineman has to be the guy getting off on him right now. And the right lineman's going to take over the man nearest him. It's that simple. So this guard here, the left guard in this case, actually the right guard in this case because he's working with the right tackle, he's got to get going. But that guy's shaded on his body. So he can give a little bit of hand help here on this backside 3 technique. Now let's say the covered man here, or the right guard in this case, thinks that he can't get to that linebacker even though he's shaded on him. Then he's going to make a gone call. He's going to do what he needs to do to get to his target. As long as we communicate it, we're fine. If he's going to leave here, he has to say gone. In this case, he's hand checking. Really be physical with that hand. And I think the thing that you really want to think about with your hand when you hand check is get your elbow tucked inside. Remember now, it's not a forearm lift. You're just sticking your hand out. But the big thing is get your elbow tucked inside. Get your thumb to the sky. So that when you hit it, it's firm. Good. Now you've got your first step when you're hand checking. Your first step puts you in position to block your target. Your target's really that linebacker that's plussed. That linebacker should be a little more plus for a hand check. Which means right now it really should be whatever step you need to take to get yourself on that target, that linebacker target. You're going to take your first step to put your nose on that play side half, on the play side number. Remember, when you're on the backside of a hand check, okay, any hand check or any gone call on the backside of outside zone, 79 here could be in a cut position. Any hand check or gone call, we can cut. Any lift or Rico, we cannot cut. Good. Get that elbow tucked inside. Get that thumb up when you stick that hand out. Remember, when you stick that hand out, you're on a track right now. When you stick that hand out, if that 3 technique or that backside covered inside shoulder doesn't come to you, you're not going to him. You're targeting your linebacker who's threatening the play. If you stick your hand out and that defensive tackle doesn't come to it, you just pull your hand back and go. Here's your gone. Linebackers in front of the double team. And you're just ripping out of there. You're in a dead sprint for the play side half of that linebacker. If you're the backside, this is a backside gone off a B call, which means 73's got to get his backside shoulder across that man's chin, just like he's doing. Get your backside shoulder across his chin. Whenever you get a gone, he's in position to cut that man. Again, look at the location of the linebacker. He's plussed. Good. Remember, every time we get to the second level, we're looking to knock those linebackers down. Remember, he's going to try and blow up his gap. So in this case, that 3 technique would have the B gap. That linebacker is pretty much going to be responsible for that backside A gap. You got to get your hat play side and don't let him blow it up. Okay, here's a look at our outside zone. So I'm going to go through a bunch of different fronts. Here's our outside zone, and I'll go through some of the calls and some of the techniques as we go. And just coach it on the fly. You can add in the blanks wherever you want to. Okay, here's weak side, outside zone. Black spot. So this ball is going to the left. Weak side, outside zone. Look at the center and the left guard. So this is the center's going to call L here because the guard's covered with his 2-eye. This is an L. This is a box declared play. Weak side, one back zone. Box declared. Center's calling L to the first linebacker in the box, which is the one him and the guard are working to. Again, on the backside now, we are always zone blocking. You're always running off the ball toward the play call. So this is left. So both of them are running to their left. Now, the linebacker in this case on the backside B block between 61 and 75 is all the way back door, which means this should be the heaviest B block you could ever have. This is a lift technique by 61. 61 is the releaser. 75 is blocking his play side gap. But because 61's linebacker is so far back that they should be thinking the defensive line might be slanting across face, which would put 75 in a snap opposite and climb into the backer. Or if they don't, like in this instance, they should lift that 3 technique all the way into the seats. He should never be an issue on this play. And we should have great lift. This is a lift technique also by 71 and the center because of the location of the linebacker. Weak side zone again. That's always nice when it ends up that way. Here's weak side zone, okay? Now, in this instance, the center called L. He's got a 2-eye on the play side guard. It's mandatory he calls L. Now, the only thing that could happen right here is our left tackle could have called big right here. That left tackle, if you feel like that 5's going to cross your face, you need help. If he called big right now, he would have been right, and that would have been an automatic. Once he called big, the center knows he's all by himself now. And that left guard will be going with that left tackle. Big. And now once you call big, and you're the left tackle, you know right now you have help inside. Which means you're covered outside shoulder. When that guy slants inside now, you become the releaser as the left tackle, and you got to release to the linebacker. Now in this case, he didn't call big, which means the left tackle is blocking that defensive end no matter where he goes. Left guard doesn't see all that. He don't know. Now back here on the back side, the center would have called L to the mic. 61 and 75 are B blocking all the way to the backside linebacker. If that backside linebacker walks down on the line of scrimmage, 61 and 75 should be aware of that. 75 should call hard over there. And that's going to tell 61 that the 3's probably crossing his face. That's going to tell 75 to snap opposite and block that defensive end. If that linebacker walks down, you're still stepping onto your gap. Then expect, now once that linebacker color flashes down behind me in a walk-up position, I'm going to snap opposite and block that defensive end. We would love to see 75 right here step with his left foot, come back and snatch up that 5 technique. Again, every double team is working to linebacker color. No matter how you cut it, you're working a linebacker color. Love to see 75 come back. That linebacker color's down, snap and block the defensive end. And you're still honoring your rule, which is working a linebacker color. Here's again, this is an L. Looks like the left tackle might have called big right here because 71's going with him. 71 should keep coming here. 76 is hopping outside. He should not be hopping right there. He should be running. Remember, everybody's off the football in your initial alignment. Splits are going to be tight splits on the play side. The left tackle wants to take a 1-foot split here, which he does. Left guard's taking a real tight split, which is good because he's in an L situation. Now, the only difference is on the backside of these outside zones with a 3 technique backside, we're working a B block. We really want to widen the split of the right guard. Now, in this case, for some reason, the right guard does not hear the call from the center, and he ends up working to that backer. We got 2 people working to the same backer, which is incorrect. This is a good play for us, and it should be. Again, there's the L and there's the B block on the backside. Same looking scenario right here. Good push at the point of attack. Running backs really got to press the line of scrimmage and bring those linebackers down to the line. If he makes his cut too quickly, then whoever our releaser is going to get cut off. He's not going to be able to get to that backer. This is a great job by the right tackle right here. Again, okay, the center calls L to that Mike. Okay, we're in a B block with 61 and 71 to the backside. The next linebacker over from the one that the center called out. Okay, that linebacker walked down on the line of scrimmage. 71 still has to step with his left foot. He should say hard to the right guard to let him know that guy walked down. He's going to tell him the 3 technique's probably crossing your face when he hears the word hard. It just tells him, hey, you're probably going to be by yourself. 71 still has to step to the left. And he should come back and snap that defensive end. He gets just enough. Now, he should turn and block back on this guy. So it's not a great job, but you see that he's starting to understand it right here. And later in this game, he understands it well enough to turn and block him. And you'll see us rip it when he does. Here's just a split flow version of the play. Again, it doesn't matter to the line. You're all blocking the same thing anyways. Okay, here the center had a 1 technique on him. He called Big Apple, which is bringing the backside guard and backside tackle. If you're the backside tackle and you hear Big Apple, you know the guard's not going to help you on the 3 technique. So you're cutting the backside 3 technique, like we did right there. When you hear Big Apple, or when you hear Apple, now the left guard knows I am in a slit with the left tackle. Left tackle needs to be more aggressive on the outside half of this defensive end. Left guard's got to keep his feet and run through the block of this linebacker. Good run. Again, there's another Big Apple. You got a 1 technique to the call. That tells the center I'm in a Big Apple. Which means now if I'm the center, my Big Apple, I am working with the backside guard and the backside tackle to the backside linebacker, to the second linebacker off the ball in the box. The slip is working to the first linebacker now. So when our center calls Big Apple, he has to point to that backside linebacker. Our left guard knows he's working a slip when he hears Apple. Got to get to the play side half. Get to the play side half. It's a good job by the left tackle right here. He's covered on his outside shoulder. Solid. The right tackle's bad here. He needs to take one more step than he thinks he needs to. Really has to open his left foot here. His left foot should almost hit that 25-yard line. Back there, the long stripe. He should almost hit that long stripe with his left foot. He should open up so wide. He should be really working to get his right shoulder across the chin of that 3 technique. Great job by the right guard right here. Solid by the center. Solid. He might be a little bit heavier on that nose, but I like the way he's running off the ball. We're displacing the defense right here. Here's 3 down. No, actually, this is 4 down again. 2-1 technique. Big apple again. Better job by the right tackle here. Still want to see you take more steps. See the right guard squaring up right here. He should keep working his right hand and right foot across that guy's body. He ends up reaching him, but keep working your right hand and right foot across that body. The ball can come behind you. It doesn't matter. If you continue to reach a defender's play side half, and his job is to stay in that gap, he's going to continue to run for that gap. So you're as long as you keep him on the board, our back can make a cut. See, our running back has to take one more step than he thinks he needs to. Our running back should take one more step here. In his case, he'd have to take 2. Another right step and then plant his left foot and go. And it'll really keep that defensive end on that guard. Right here, you're seeing a covered outside shoulder on the left tackle. Him and the left guard. I want to see the left guard run more off the ball and don't reach out until you get there. It's pretty solid. Okay, look at the right tackle right now. Okay, the center calls Big Apple. The right tackle and the right guard are in a slip. Okay, the right tackle's right shoulder is threatened. He's covered on an outside shade. So that means his play side gap is threatened. He's got to block that defensive end. But now, if you're the guard right now and that linebacker, the 2 of them can see that linebacker pushing outside right now. So they know right now that 71, that defensive end is going to slant inside, and the right tackle now will become the releaser because the right guard's gap is threatened. He'll become the releaser, and he has to get to the play side half of that linebacker. Now, the linebacker's not going to let him, so you just drive that guy out. He's still trying to get there. If he won't let me get there, drive him out, which is what 71 does. 61 now, listen to me. 61. Once that linebacker's moving like that, you know right now you're still aiming at the midline of the 5 technique, but you know you're blocking him. 61, the right guard right here, is not good. He should be in a dead sprint. He should open more with his right foot to put his nose on his target. And his target is the midline. He should be running off the ball flat down that line of scrimmage right at the midline of that 5 technique. And he should really whack that guy hard. Should belt the hell out of him. And he'd hit him right down the midline and then reach him and let that ball go around you. I don't want the back to have to cut like that. The only reason the back has to cut like that right there is because he sees that color of that other jersey in his face. He sees the big hip of 61, and he sees the defender's jersey. So he's forced to cut inside. Now, he ends up doing a good job here. The back does, but that's because we do a good job on the backside. Good job here. I'd still, okay, and I know this is early in the season. 61, I want to see 61 run off the ball at that target. Run off the ball at that target. Now watch this. We're blocking the box right here. Now listen to me. If we get great, if we were great right now, we'd call gang right now. We would gang this. And the right guard would be the guy calling gang. He'd gang that whole line from him on back. They all know if the right tackle here is gang, he knows if he didn't call it, he's not going out to anybody that doesn't exist. But right here we have an extra defender coming down into the box, which is that safety. So you know right now we just accounted for the down lineman and the 2 linebackers. We didn't account for that safety. And if that safety's at 5 yards, he's down there low. You know that receiver's not going to get him. We'd love to see that whole line coming right here. I'd like to see everybody sprinting +1 here. And keep coming. The thing we do well in this play is we're sprinting off the ball. 71's in a dead sprint here. 70's in a dead sprint. Color goes away for, watch 70 right here. 70 calls Big Apple. He should be snapping back a little bit quicker than that, but it's solid. The thing I'd like to see is I'd like to see 61 get on the play side half of that linebacker earlier. Whenever there's an extra defender in the box, we gang that. We're going to gang that. Usually he's outside the box coming off the edge, which is when you hear gang. But if there's ever a situation where an extra defender ends up down in the box, whoever sees it in there, gang it. Okay, this is really good by the right guard. Okay, again, the center here called R. This is a 2-eye. He calls R. This is an R and a B, which means the right tackle is all alone. The right guard and the center are working together to the Mike, to the Will, and the B block is going to the Mike. But watch the difference in the right guard here later in the season as compared to earlier in the season. He's not waiting around. That guy slants inside. He's off to the second level right now, and he's in a sprint. So he's not shuffling his feet or hopping. He's running. The reason I bring that up is there is no more late in the season, which is why we're doing this with you right now. When this meeting's over and you're done watching this video, nobody here should be shuffling or hopping off the ball. Because sprint off the football. And you're going to be right. Sprint at the correct target. Be physical, and you're going to be right. Good job by the center. And again, the center, he's the uncovered man, but his gap is threatened. So he's blocking that gap. He's blocking that man. He's reaching that man. The right guard in this case, he's the covered man, but he's the releaser in that double team. This is solid on the backside. Again, on the backside of our wide zone, it doesn't matter which one it is. It can be 2 back, 1 back. We could have 70 wide zone plays. It doesn't matter how many we have. These are the techniques you're using on all wide zone plays, man. Look at the backside guard and backside tackle. Again, we want to reach the play side. We want to cut the backside. Watch the back right here. He doesn't have to make a jump cut in the backfield. He's just cutting and he's just planting and going. He attacks the C gap, he plants and goes. So even though we don't get the 5 technique reach because he doesn't want to get reached, he's not going to let us reach him. He's playing a wide technique, and then as we begin to reach him, he runs outside, which means the block is being done for us, just based on what you're attacking. Same thing with the right guard. He's attacking the outside half, okay, of the linebacker. The guy will not let you reach him, so drive him out. Continue to try and reach. Continue to try and reach, and then drive him out. And there's the cuts. I'm coming back to this now. There's the cuts on the backside. Good job by the left tackle, and solid by the left guard. I know he doesn't get him down, but watch. You're cutting. You're taking one more step than you think you need to. That guy can't stop like he does. And if he does stop, he's going to take himself out of the play. You have to cut to the position you know he's going to end up in. Now, I'd like to see you roll through these blocks. Roll. And the different thing that guard could do right here is roll through that block. Every time you cut, run game, pass game, take one more step than you think you need to and roll through the block. That's well done. Good job by the receiver outside. Look at this. Now that safety's at about 8 yards right here, so you're not going to see him as a threat, which means the receiver should get him, and he does. Again, right guard, we want to keep running off the ball. Center's wrong here. He's in a big apple. He needs to come back on that nose and climb to the backside linebacker. So it's an R by the center, and it's a B block on the backside. Okay, that defender on the backside B block is tackling 65. It's unacceptable. 65's got to get through. And 65 looks like he makes a gone here. Remember, listen to me now. On the backside, we can't get called for these high-low blocks. Okay, so here's the deal. All right, if you're in a hand check or a gone, that backside tackle can cut here in a hand check or a gone. But if you're in a lift or a Rico, you cannot cut. You cannot cut. And we've seen it happen. We saw it happen against Oklahoma, where the play came all the way back. A great run. A great run. And a questionable call, but they called it nonetheless. There was no reason for us to do it. Again, in order to cut on the backside on a B block, it needs to be a hand check or a gone call. If it's a lift or a Rico, then you can't cut. Again, you're still dealing with a 4-2 over front. Look at the left guard working to get out of here. Good job by the right tackle. Watch him push this thing. He can't reach it. He's taking his 3 steps. He says, I don't have it reached. There's color in the way. Blast it. Blast it. I mean, there is no question about another colored jersey. If there's another colored jersey within reach of you, you're going to block it. We need to continue on with this play. By the finish of the season, we ran this play well. You need to take all these coaching points and own them. Like right here, the left tackle. This is a solid job. Look at the left tackle here. He's attacking the guy's outside half. The guy jumps inside a little bit, peeks inside, and he ends up taking that play side shoulder over. The guy peeks inside, but then the guy knows he's got to get back on outside leverage. And he runs him out of there. I mean, he blocks this guy about 6 or 7 yards outside. Now this L, watch the L right here. Now this is a tricky L. It's an L because he's a 2-eye. But if I'm the left guard right now, I might say gone to the center. Because I'm thinking this linebacker stacked so wide on the 5 technique that I might have to call a slip right here. Or a gone call. But I would be thinking slip here, which is a gone call to the center. If the center hears the left guard say slip, he knows right now that he's gone. Because we'd like to see that left guard get on the play side half of number 1. We don't like that. Now, I understand what you're doing. You're trying to give some hand help here. Right here, if I'm the right guard, that guy's a head-up technique. Which means, and the linebacker's stacked, you are in a heavy lift right here if I'm the right guard. I am in a heavy lift technique. That's a good job by the right tackle. Being physical. We give up a little penetration inside, but we displace the defense here. Look at us get to the second level right here. We're getting to the second level. Look at the two guards getting off. Well, it's actually the right guard and the left tackle getting off to the next level. We're getting to these linebackers 2.5 to 3 yards down the field, and that's what we want to do. If they meet you at the line of scrimmage, they win. You've got to get to the second level. We want to blast the line of scrimmage and get to the second level on outside zone. Good job by the right guard. That running back's got to press that more. He's got to press this more. Safety's coming down. We got to get that backside two-eye on the ground. Look at the left tackle here. Solid. Watch his left foot and his left hand. I mean, when you get in a single block, every double team is going to end up being a single block and a single block by the two of you. When the play unfolds, one of you is going to end up on the D lineman, one of you will end up on the linebacker. When you get to that man, you're reaching him. So it's the same reach technique that you've been taught from day one. So in this case, the left tackle, the left foot is in the crotch, the left hand is down the midline. You control the play side half of the defender. You're blocking half the man. He should try and fight across your face, which is what he does right here. The mistake the left tackle makes right now, the backside tackle, is that he puts his right hand on him. Don't put your right hand on him. Take your left foot, put it in his crotch, take your left hand, put it in his midline, and continue to reach him. Continue to push left hand, left foot across that guy's face. Left hand, left foot, right in the crotch in the midline. And that won't happen. Look at the depth of us off the football right here. You can see right here. I mean, zone blocking wise, we got to figure it out a little bit as far as our depth. You can't be on the football. Look, we're assaulting the line of scrimmage right here. Look at, and everybody's staying on the board. That's a big play. That's a big play in a big football game. That's 4 yards. 5 yards. And you watch the back. Look at the line of scrimmage. There's nobody up the field. Nobody. There's no penetration in that line. We keep everybody on the board. If we can do that one thing, keep everybody on the board and attack the play side half of them, our running back's going to get 4 yards. When somebody comes up and comes off that board and penetrates into the line of scrimmage, you're pretty much going to have a dead play. That back's going to be forced to cut, and there's going to be defenders that are being reached by our people, but there's somebody being forced to run into them. Stay square, keep them on the board. And communicate. Here you go. You got an L situation here with the center and the left guard. That left guard's being held, okay, by the two-eye. Okay, he's obviously trying to get off on the backer. You gotta chop down on that arm. So once he feels he's being held, he's got to chop through here. Now listen to me. Right here, that linebacker's moving before the snap. So he's using a Rico technique here. He's banging back against that two-eye, okay, because he feels like he has to give the center some help. And that's fine, but you've got to get out of there. You've got to get to the play side half, which means right now, for the beginning of a football game and you don't get to the play side half on this, hey, you got to be thinking, I have to use a hand check technique to get out to the play side half of this guy. Okay, good footwork by the right guard here, 61. He's the covered man. He's covered on his outside half. Right tackle right here. We're in a B block. He's the uncovered man. He's driven by the linebacker. That linebacker's plushed right now. He's got to be flying. He's flying for that defensive lineman. He's on the backside of outside zone, so he's really pushing that helmet. He's really pushing the midline of that defensive tackle. Keep running. Keep running. Keep running. Now watch the right tackle right here. Okay, he should take that he should block that linebacker. Should knock that linebacker down. Push that thing over to 61. If you can't get it, push it. If you can get it, block it. But right here, let's say you can't get that, okay? Well, push it. When you find yourself in space, right here, the right tackle's in space. He's in space right here. Climb. Turn up the field and climb. You block that linebacker right there, you don't know what 32 is going to do with this football. Climb. When in doubt, climb. When in space, climb. Write that down, Joe. Okay, we had some penetration on that play. Now listen to me. The penetration obviously is not good. The running back does a good job, and we do a good job with everyone else on the backside of that play. But the bottom line is, even if you're giving up penetration, as long as you continue to run your feet and displace the defense. Run your feet, displace the defense. That's a great job by our back. And that's a big play in a big game. We needed that play. You don't win that game without that play. And a lot of other plays, I understand, but that's a huge play. Everybody's sprinting off the football here. I'd like to see the center come back a little quicker here. Watch the linebacker before the snap. That linebacker shifts before the snap, which means, yeah, we say it's a three-step operation, but you really got to use your head. He has to honor his play side gap, but he should turn this into a one-stepper here. Should step with his left foot just to make sure the three doesn't come inside. The odds of that three coming inside right now when those linebackers shift is almost zero. When those linebackers shift, you know they're pressuring from the field. When those linebackers start moving before the snap, you're pressuring from the direction that the linebackers are moving to. So in this case, the linebackers are moving to my right. I know the D-line is going to slant to my left. So the center still has to honor his play side gap. Step to your left, come back and nail that nose guard. And help the right guard out here and then seal that mic. And we end up getting it done. But it could be cleaner. It's got to be cleaner. Good job by the right tackle right here. In this case, this would be a triple call by the center. He triples to the mic. Backside tackles. If he doesn't hear B, he's calling a C block. I didn't hear B. I know I'm always working with somebody. I'm going to call C right here if I'm the right tackle. Triple. Triple is the center and the two guards working against the two defensive tackles to that first linebacker in the box. Right tackle, C. I'm working with the backside tight end to the next linebacker over from the one the center called out on my C block. If I'm getting pressure off my right shoulder on the right tackle, I know this is 4 off a side, man, to the field. I'm going to snap. The linebacker color goes away. I'm blocking that defensive end. It's us two, me and the tight end, against the defensive end to that linebacker. Linebacker goes away. I'm blocking that defensive end, period. And again, if you just look at it from this standpoint, if I'm the right tackle right now, okay, I'm covered on my inside shoulder. We're running the ball to the left. If I'm the tight end, I'm uncovered. Which means, but my play side gap is threatened. I'm blocking my play side gap if I'm the tight end. If I'm the right tackle, I'm the releaser. Well, the linebacker's all the way behind the defensive lineman. Which means I'm in a heavy lift technique right here. If that linebacker color never flashes, I'm blocking the 5 technique, or the 5 technique. If linebacker color ever flashed, I'd end up getting off. I'll tell you another thing we got to do, and we do a good job on this play getting in the end zone. I mean, we got to help our backs more. We got to pick our backs up at the line of scrimmage. We got to pick our backs up when they're on the ground. Here we are motioning to our outside zone. and this is an awkward front here, okay? They got the walk-up linebackers. They got 2-3 techniques, and they got 2 walk-up linebackers here. Doesn't matter. There is no such thing as an awkward front when you zone block and when you block in an area. You block your play side gap, period. It's that easy. And you continue with your same rules. You're cutting on the backside. You're reaching the play side. These are all single blocks here. It's a good run. Three and a half, 4-yard gain. 3.5-yard gain. It's like a right tackle right here. Watch your hands. Watch your hands right here. I want to see you dig your hands into his ribs. I mean, dig your hands in there. That right guard. Watch our right guard right here. Okay, here's your block now. Okay, there's the right guard. Good footwork to start the play. Now listen to me. You're in a lift technique, though. That guy's head up, which means you're the releaser. If I'm the right tackle right now, I'm the uncovered man, but my play side gap is threatened. I'm the right guard. I'm the releaser. I'm driven by that linebacker. That linebacker's behind me. I got to bang this defensive tackle. In this case, these linebackers were so fast that I could understand us using a Rico technique here. But there's no reason for you to be sprinting out of there as far as trying to leave the defensive lineman. We should be banging this defensive lineman and then getting to the linebacker level. Just based on the original location of the linebacker, he's behind the play. This is a lift technique back there. And the center's working an L here. The center's almost pulling. Yeah, I mean, I know those tackles are running out of there. The tackle's running very well here. But the play side guard's got to continue to run. The center's got to stay on his track. He can't get around the guard. And if those tackles are running like you just saw against Nebraska, if they're running like that, you're going to do exactly what we did. We didn't run any more outside zone after a couple of those early plays. We ran tight zone all game long. As you can tell, you got to say, hey, those tackles are running out of there. If those 3 techniques and those 2 eyes are running out of there, we're going to run inside zone. There's a big apple on the backside and a slip on the play side. That's a good-looking play here. Left tackle's got to continue. Watch the left tackle here. Just be more up the field with that second step. It's a little bit of a hop. Be more up the field. If he stays outside, threaten his outside. If he stays outside, run him out of here. Get your hat, play more play side if you're the left tackle here. Now, if you're the left guard right here, watch this. Your right foot's in the crotch. We should get more help from this left guard here. Now, he's a 3 technique, so yeah, you're blocking him. Okay, this is a triple call by the center. This is wide zone to the left. Weak side, wide zone to the left. That left guard, your right foot's got to be in the crotch. You're blocking the play side number, the 3 technique. He goes inside while your linebacker's behind you, which means now once he goes inside, you become the releaser. Well, the linebacker's behind the D lineman. It means you got to lift him. I mean, you got to give the center more than that. We got to lift that guy. Just think about the logic of what I'm saying right now. I'm reaching this guy right now. My play side gap's threatened. I'm reaching the 3 technique if I'm the left guard. It's a triple call by the center. My right foot, if I'm the left guard, my right foot's in the crotch. I'm putting my nose on the play side number of this defensive tackle. All of a sudden, he slants inside. I got him reached. I know the center's coming with me. He slants inside. I'm now the releaser, which means I should lift this guy. And just based on my initial statement, which is I'm reaching him anyways because my gap is threatened, you should be in great position of being a lift technique on this guy and help the center. Good job by the right guard. We're cutting the 1 technique. Right tackle, we're cutting the backside linebacker. Excellent. Look at that. You can see this backside tackle. I mean, he's through that guy's body and he rolls. That guy's out of the play. Tight end's got to get depth with your first step. And look at your stance, tight end. Your base is too wide. You can't take it. You can't open step right here. You know, we didn't always block everybody right in this football game, and we targeted everybody right. But did we do every single thing right against this front? No, but the one thing you did do was you sprinted off the ball every snap. And that's why you had success running the ball against this team, because you were aggressive. We sprinted off the ball against this team. I'd like to see us do a better job here. This is a gang call. So the left tackle right now, you're in a slip. Center's calling R back to the linebacker with the backside guard. Our left tackle now calls gang because he has an extra defender outside that we didn't account for. He calls gang. He's bringing everybody with him. I'd like to see the left guard here. Aiming point. Whenever you get a gang call, you're aiming one man over on the line of scrimmage. Which means right now, if I'm the left guard, I'm aiming at that 5 technique right down the midline. Right at the helmet. And I'm going to put him right on the center's lap. We got to get more here. Our center does a heck of a job right here. Finds himself in space, but he continues to be aggressive and run. He's being aggressive. I mean, he finds himself in space. The left guard ends up on the 5 technique. On the backside here, you got the backside 61. Now watch 61 right here. He's trying to reach that nose guard. He's got him reached. Don't turn back to him. Continue to put your right foot and your right hand in his crotch. Right foot's in the crotch, right hand's on the midline, and cut him. Cut him, get him down. Watch the right tackle right here. Okay, go. Go. Listen to me, there's nobody there. Okay, maybe I know the center called R to that backside linebacker. The defensive end is so wide right now. You know you're zone blocking to the left. Go and cut that. And you get a gang call right here. When you hear gang, there is no more anything. You are sprinting to your left. You should cut that backside linebacker. Now listen to me. If we get that nose guard on the ground, and you should because you've got great leverage on him, don't turn back to people. You got great leverage here. Go right hand, right foot. Right foot in the crotch, right hand to the midline, and cut him late. Right tackle should be sprinting off the ball and cutting that backside linebacker. You don't know what 32 is going to do with that ball if those guys are down. But you're going to run through there. Receivers are blocking on the edge. See, this is forced. This ball is a forced cut here. Because we get some penetration inside. And it's quick penetration. Look at the center's turning sideways. Just watch the ball carrier. He's forced to make a quick cut. Every other play that you watch when we have success, he just plants and rolls into the hole. Oh, the hole just comes to him. He stays in the C gap and the hole just comes to him. But here he's forced to cut, and then he's going to get tackled. He's forced to make a cut here. Forced cut. He sees orange color. Now, I know 70's working his tail off right there. Continue to run. Continue right hand, right foot. Backside hand, backside foot. All right.